Today, we are breaking down a conflict that for years felt like a distant possibility, but on February 28, 2026, became a brutal reality. A war erupted between Iran, the United States, and Israel, and the shockwaves are already being felt around the world. So let's get right into it. How it started, what is truly at stake, and where this crisis could be headed next. It's a question we've asked throughout history, right? How does a region that's been simmering for decades, just full of tension, finally completely boil over into all-out war? Well, in this case, that's exactly how it happened. It began with a devastating, unbelievably fast attack, one designed to decapitate a nation's leadership and cripple its military, all in just a matter of hours. It all kicked off with a joint military operation. Israel's codename was Operation Lion's Roar, while the U.S. called their part Epic Fury. This was the first shot fired. That first day, February 28th, was just relentless. It started before dawn with those coordinated airstrikes hitting targets all across Iran. By the afternoon, the world got the stunning news. Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, was dead, a truly massive blow. And as night fell, Iran swore a severe response was coming. It was a guarantee that this was just the very beginning. But you have to understand, this did not come out of a vacuum. Not at all. This war is the explosive result of decades of bad blood. Everything from Iran's nuclear ambitions to proxy wars fought across the entire Middle East. This has been a long time coming. And Iran's response? It wasn't just fast, it was a massive, multi-front retaliation that basically turned a targeted strike into a full-blown regional war almost overnight. Iran's retaliation was absolutely ferocious. They unleashed these huge waves of missiles and drones, not just at Israel, but at American bases in allied countries like Kuwait and Bahrain. They hit critical civilian targets, like a major water desalination plant. And, maybe most importantly, they moved to choke off the Strait of Hormuz, a vital artery for the entire world's oil supply. And the battlefield just kept getting bigger. It wasn't just physical anymore. Iran's powerful ally, Hezbollah, opened up a whole new front from Lebanon. At the same time, a second war was kicking off in the digital world. We're talking intense cyber attacks on military and civilian networks, plus massive disinformation campaigns from all sides, just designed to create chaos. So, beyond all the military moves and the geopolitics, the immediate human toll of this war, it's just been staggering. It's spreading misery across the entire region. The human cost is already devastating. In Iran alone, initial reports are saying over 1,000 civilians have been killed. And this isn't just collateral damage. This includes a horrific direct hit on a primary school that killed dozens of children. And look at the speed of this humanitarian crisis. In just the first week, the UN says over 250,000 people were forced to flee their homes. That is a massive wave of displacement, and there is no end in sight. And the scale of this thing is just huge. This isn't contained to one or two countries. Violence connected to this war has now been recorded in at least 16 different nations. From Saudi Arabia to the UAE to Jordan, the entire region is feeling this. The damage goes way beyond the immediate casualties, too. Attacks on fuel depots near Tehran have created these enormous toxic clouds, prompting warnings of acid rain and severe health risks for millions of people. And across the Gulf, strikes on things like desalination plants are threatening the supply of clean drinking water. So, yeah, this is not just a regional war anymore. It's become a full-blown global crisis. The economic and political fallout is already hitting thousands of miles away from the actual fighting. So why does this matter so much if you live halfway across the world? Well, look at this. The Strait of Hormuz, which is now basically blockaded by Iran, is the choke point for 20% of the entire world's oil supply. When that flow gets cut off, everybody feels the economic pain. And here's what that pain looks like. Analysts are already projecting oil prices could surge to $150 a barrel if this keeps up. That's not just about what you pay for gas. That affects the cost of almost everything. It's a massive shock to the global economy. And the fallout just keeps spreading. Global financial markets like the S&P 500 are all over the place. International travel and trade are getting hammered by airspace closures. And diplomatically, huge rifts are forming. China is criticizing the initial attacks, while key European countries like Germany and Switzerland are flat out accusing the US and Israel of breaking international law. So the biggest question now is, where does this go from here? The analysis points to three very distinct and starkly different possible futures. Okay, scenario one, a prolonged stalemate, just a grinding, destructive war that goes on and on with no clear winner. Scenario two, and this is the really terrifying one, is total regional escalation, where other countries get dragged into the fight, creating a much, much bigger war. And then there is scenario three, the most hopeful one, a negotiated ceasefire, where intense international pressure finally stops the fighting and opens the door to diplomacy. Each one of these paths has profound consequences, not just for the Middle East, but for all of us. The choices made in the next few days and weeks will decide which of these futures becomes our reality. With the entire region on a knife's edge and the whole world watching, you have to wonder, which future is it going to be?